that you can't compete here in front of 25,000+ fans on Saturday night?
Well, you know, second biggest event of history, right, for the UFC. Super jealous, but you know, my time will come. I'm sure I'll get bigger events, and we're going to get a lot more big events here in Europe. So I'm going to try and be as many as possible. And I'm still a part of it. I'm still here. I'm still going to be sitting there, cage side, watching the fights and watching Alexander Gustafsson get his title shot that we've been waiting for a very long time. So I can't wait.
Well, you know, 2015, brand new year. What's your New Year's resolutions? What you got planned for this year?
New Year's resolutions. There's no such thing in my eyes as a New Year's resolution. I don't, you know, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. I want to lose some weight. I want to go to the gym. I want to do this. I don't like try and limit myself in any way, so I'm not setting any setbacks or stop this or stop that. I just want to have a better year. I want to keep getting better, keep enjoying myself, and keep doing what I'm doing. I think the system I've got in place and the way I live my life is working for me. I love life. I love what I do for a living, and I'm just carrying on going.
You've previously spoken about you want to be sort of the ambassador for English MMA and sort of be the one who's, you know, the flag bearer, so to speak. How do you feel that journey is going so far?
Well, I've taken a couple of bumps recently from some terrible judging decisions and you know, a few flat performances. But I think in the media and, you know, doing these things, getting FaceTime, traveling, being around, you know, I think I'm at the forefront. I don't think there's anyone else in England that almost wants to do it as much as I want to do it, and I think can compete. You know, the big names are starting to fade in England now, and I'm the one that's coming through, and I think I'm the one who's taken on the responsibility. Things like the Amateur World Championships, I put myself forward and coached the English team and the Irish team, and I was there for the amateur guys coming through. I'm going to be there again this year to help coach, and I'm doing things that other people aren't doing. So hopefully, with risk comes reward, and all the things I do and the hard work that I put in, hopefully I do become the you know, the ambassador for the sport, and I can get on the major leagues and get on the major channels and the major avenues to try and advertise the sport in a good, proper way, because some of the guys aren't doing it very well.
Why do you think that is, that there's no major stars evolving in English mixed martial arts?
I think, you know, England's a very, very hard thing to crack. There's so many sportsmen, there's so many celebrities, such a big celebrity culture in England, and it's hard, very, very difficult, even for like a boxer. There's a few boxers out there that has been around forever. England are very, very big in boxing, and it's hard to break the seal. I think you have to win a world championship, you have to have, you know, a fight of your life and all those sort of things. So I think it's in the future for me, and I think once I have that performance that can draw people to it, then you can start talking and getting on the talk shows and being a face of it out there. But England's a hard market to crack. There's so many people out there, there's so many sportsmen out there, and I know the English people are behind me and they come to the events and they're really good. The fans are really, really good for our sport, but there needs to be more. There needs to be more interest, and the reason there isn't more interest is because it's not as mainstream yet in the country. It's not the fighters' fault, it's the media that you guys are trying as hard as you can to push it, and we need more people to try hard and push it and keep pushing it and keep pushing it, and it'll keep growing.
So how would you rank English MMA comparing to other European MMA markets?
I mean, as a market,
as a level competition.
Oh, a competition level. I mean, we're lucky enough to have had a lot more fighters get to the level of the UFC. I think England has had more than most of the European countries. It's sort of Sweden are catching up now. So I think we have a little bit more experience at a higher level. When it comes to like technical ability and people coming through, the Scandinavians are, I think they're well ahead of England, to be honest. Their grappling prowess, their boxing, the way they, you know, I come to Sweden 2-3 times a year to train, and the way they train, the way they think very differently to England. So, and then you got Russia, you got Poland. Poland at the moment, the jiu-jitsu over there, they're producing fantastic jiu-jitsu practitioners. Poland. Oh, there you go. And they're really going to come through with some monsters. And I think when the UFC, which is going to do this year, hopefully, or next year, going to, you know, get that market, the Poland market, the Russian market, those guys are beasts. And when they come through into the UFC, we'll see a whole new side of European MMA. So there's a lot more to come. I think at the moment, England is still flying the flag, but the fighters like, you got Conor McGregor now from Ireland, you got Alexander Gustafsson from Sweden, they're the big marquee names, and England doesn't really have one now. Bisping is still there and he's still great, but he's not really making a run, he's not doing anything out there at the moment. He's kind of subdued and plateaued a little bit, and these guys that are coming through are really leading it for Europe at the moment.
And you had on social media that you were in the States recently, so how long did you spend there and what was that experience like?
I was out in San Diego training at Alliance Mixed Martial Arts for around 3.5 months. Travelled around a little bit, went to a lot of shows, did a lot of stuff, and I lived a life out there, to be honest. It was great. I've actually had a bit of problems back home with my, well, strange, but my family are moving to Spain, so I don't really have a home in England anymore. And if I came back, I'd have my own home, but I have nowhere to come back to. My gym has disbanded a little bit, not disbanded, but Tsunami Gym, my coaches, my teammates, they're all doing things, but in loads of different places now, and there's a lot of travelling involved to train. And I don't have any big middleweights to train with in England, so I've always said I wanted to stay in England. I've always wanted to, to train in England and be a part of England. And now I've found that to elevate my game and to get to the next level, I need the training partners, I need the bodies, I need the people like Phil Davis, wrestling with me every single day. And you just don't have that at the moment in England for the bigger guys. So I've made the move at the moment over to San Diego, and I'm living there pretty much full time now. I go out after this event. I'll be out there to train for whenever my next bout comes up. And that's it. I'm just gonna keep going, live in the sunshine. It's 24 degrees, can't complain about that. 2 hours from LA, 4 hours from Las Vegas. I mean, it's I've been told by everyone I've met, American, wherever, it's the place to live in America. Every American wants to live in San Diego. And someone today said to me, I think it's the third best city in the world or something, ranking wise. So I'm in a pretty good place.
As you mentioned before, you're still waiting for that breakout performance, the one that'll really push you into the spotlight.
Yeah.
What would you think would be your ideal opponent next to your ideal fight?
Someone who's going to bring it. Someone who's going to come, who's going to fight. I've had two performances now where I still feel like I've won both fights. I've lost them. My last performance, I wasn't happy with at all. I was very, very disappointed in my performance. But the fighters I'm fighting, they have no challenge to me. I don't see much of I don't have a fear in them. I'm not worried about the fight, so I'm not taking them lightly in training. But when I'm in there, I have a different reaction. I've worked this out about myself. I say there's like three mindsets in the world. You have the lion, you have the fox, and you have the sheep. So the sheep is the follower that does nothing and just gets slaughtered. The fox is the clever guy who can disguise himself as the sheep and be the lion, and the lion is the hunter. And whenever I am the fox and I'm fighting a lion, no problem. I can be the fox, I can be the smart guy, I can wait for them to attack, and I can turn it into my way. As soon as I'm the lion and I've got to slaughter the sheep, I'm starting to struggle. That's the personality-wise and in my fighting style, and that comes down to training, it comes down to my upbringing in the sport. The last 7-8 years I've always been the underdog. I've always been the guy that people look at and think, he's a tall, skinny white guy, I could just grab hold of him and throw him on the ground. And in my mind, that's great. So I've been the underdog. Now I'm starting to become favourite. My last two fights I've been the favourite, the odds favourite. And it's changed. I've got to change my approach. So my next fight, the people I want to fight are challenges. I look at it as like the Kelvin Gastelum approach. I'm very close to Kelvin. You see this guy, every fight he takes, he goes from, fighting Tyron Woodley, and people are like, he's fighting Tyron, and he was like, just won a great fight, got to this huge stage, he got in the top 10, I think he's ranked 5th now or 6th or wherever he is. I'll fight Tyron Woodley number 3. Now he's got another big challenge in front of him. His training gets better, his focus gets better, and if he loses, lost to Tyron Woodley, the guy's ranked 3rd in the world, so he has nothing to lose and everything to gain, and I think it's a great strategy from Kelvin, and I think he whoops Tyron Woodley next weekend. So I want that. I want the challenges. I want the things that make the people that can bring the best performance out of me. When I feel like I'm dominant and I'm winning, it's not working for me at the moment.
You had this goal, staying undefeated before, of course, the last two fights in your division. So you have a new goal probably right now.
I'm still undefeated. I just said I feel like I won my fights. I know they might be great performances, but the Sean Strickland fight, it got announced by some media outlet as the 3rd worst decision of 2014. I completely agree with that. And I feel like I 100% won that fight, and the guy ran away from me. My last fight, bad 3rd round performance, I got a bit hesitant and I got caught. I survived an onslaught. I had a black belt on my back for 3 or 4 minutes. He couldn't get anywhere near me. I managed to stand back up. Very proud of that performance in that 3rd round. But I was a bit lackadaisical, but I still think I won round one and I won round 2, so I won the fight. So I still feel like I haven't taken anything negative from those performances. I moved positively forward, and I feel like I'm undefeated. But I don't care what the stats say, and I don't care what the thing is. As soon as you lose a few fights or you lose a fight, people start to doubt you, don't believe in you. They think, he's dropping off a little bit. No, I'm not. I'm better than I've ever been. I'm stronger than I've ever been, quicker than I've ever been. I'm training with more higher level people than I ever have, and I'm in a different league now to I was last year, and I just need to prove it now. So I need that performance. I need that performance to sweep all this under the rug and just to keep moving forward.
So you're saying about this ongoing process of becoming more professional, getting on the higher level. What did you get rid of since you joined the UFC? What did you get rid of? Bad habits, maybe bad things, or just things you did and you shouldn't do to become better?
You know, I think there's a lot of things that have changed in my life. Personal life and everything has changed, but just your approach, you know, for training, I used to overtrain a lot. I used to live in my gym. I lived in the gym on the mats for 2 years, and I trained every day, 3 times a day, as hard as I could. I'd do sprints as hard as I could. I'd spar as hard as I could. And as you become more professional and you see the guys around you and you start training with the high-level people, you realize you don't have to. It's a mental thing. You don't have to go 100% every single day, because you're just wearing your body out and wearing your mind out and tiring you out. It becomes a grind. And now I'm looking for things to branch off into. So rather than grinding every single day at the same thing, I'm getting inspired by different things and relaxing a bit more and enjoying my training. Right now, been back in England for Christmas for the last 6 weeks, and I've been putting a gi on doing jiu-jitsu. And I've never done that before, really, in a gi. Completely new challenge. It revitalizes me, inspires me. I learn new tricks, and I go to training exciting to learn something new. You know, whereas before, you just be grinding. I think that's one of the things you see with the older fighters now. They're just stuck like a hamster on a wheel, just doing the same thing over and over again every single day. And I think you need to change your approach. You need to look at new inspirational figures, think about, I want to learn how to do this now, I want to learn how to do this technique, and just keep it fresh and keep it enjoying it. And I think that's the biggest difference for me in the past year. I know I'm a talented guy. I know I'm up there with the best guys, and I can compete with them. I just need to keep growing and keep getting dynamic and keep feeding what I'm doing, and then it'll all come into place.
Luke, you said you want the challenge in your next fight. Is there any potential opponents, anyone you'd stylistically like to face?
There is no one I can think of, and this is the thing, I'm not shy calling people out, you know this, but in the division right now, I'm coming off of 2 pretty poor performances, pretty mellow performances. I don't like to be shouting for people's names and calling people. I said to Joe, whoever you want me to fight, I'll fight. Wherever you want to fight, I'll fight. I'm ready to go now. You just call out the person and I'll make sure that I run through him. So I want a challenge. I want someone who I know is going to come into and this is what I said to Joe, I want someone I know is going to come in there and he's going to throw down. Not a guy who's going to run away and try and score points. I want to fight. My last 2 performances, like I said, have been a bit slow, but if you look at the performances I've had since I've been under the UFC banner, like from the Ultimate Fighter forwards, you know, I got people say it's a flying knee, a bit of like a hopping knee knockout against Gilbert Smith, which was a great knockout for me. I was #1 pick on the Ultimate Fighter due to my performance getting into the house, which people didn't really see, which was, I still think, one of my best fights. Then I had Fight of the Season against Dylan Andrews. I got Knockout of the Night or Fight of the Night, whichever one it was, against Andrew Craig. Fight of the Night, I believe. You know, I think it was the second highest exchange rate in a middleweight debut in the UFC against Colin Hart. I've had exciting, visceral, hard fights my whole career, and I'm always willing to put it on the line. And the last 2, it's been down to my opponents that I haven't been able to put it on the line, not myself. So, you know, I want someone who's going to come forward, who's going to throw down with me, and we're going to have an exciting fight. That's what I'm looking to do.
You spoke about the Ultimate Fighter there briefly. What do you think about the John Jones scenario? Obviously, you were on opposite teams. What do you think about him testing positive for cocaine? Well,
you know, who am I to judge John Jones? He's likes to party by the sounds of it. I don't know, but I think how the UFC have dealt with it and how they have looked at it, and you have a lot of discussions about, you know, marijuana, how people have been banned for that, and the cocaine and all this sort of stuff. And I just think there needs to be a set decision for what happens if you get caught for this, if you get caught for that, if you get caught for that. Not case by case. You know, John Jones likes to party, so it's okay. I just don't agree with that. I think there should be a rule set. And I just think what it is UFC had never come across it before. You know, it's not something that they've had to deal with, and I don't think there's a thing in place for it. So I think they need to put a rule book in place. They need to stick by it. Whoever does, whatever happens, you know, it's really like a sport. That's my opinion. Me and John aren't like best mates. We don't really get on, or even on the season. We all know I'm pro-chair, you know, and we talk about drug abuse, so we can go on forever with this conversation, so let's just kill it. But I'm pro-chair, I always have been, and John always rubbed me up a little bit the wrong way. So, you know, I think he should be punished a bit more than he has been, but, you know, unfortunately that's the sport we're in.
Cool.
Good.
Thank you.
Sorted.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.